kiddos. Today we're learning about adding and subtracting tens. We're mostly going to focus on adding today, but in the next few days we'll do some subtracting too. Our learning target is I can use what I know about adding and subtracting ones to help me add and subtract tens. So first, let's review what we mean when we say tens and ones, and then you'll be able to use this more clearly going forward. So ones can be thought of as groups of one. So here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one, and so on like that. You can count ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now take a look where I typed out that pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Do you see how each of those has just one digit? There's only one thing I typed to make a 1, one thing I typed to make a 2, and so on like that. That's what we mean when we talk about ones. However, when we take the ones and we have 10 of them, something special happens. You can squash them together and make a group of 10. These have the same amount, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So when you get 10 ones, you squish them together and make a group of 10. I'm going to color code them. The ones will be yellow and the groups of 10 will be green because it'll be easier to see things as we go forward. Once you've made one of those groups, we call it a 10. You can also see the tens when you're counting, because remember how the other digits were just one digit in the ones, like 8 and 9? We just press one thing on the keyboard. When you make a 10, there are 0 ones all by themselves and one group of 10 all squished together. It takes 2 digits or 2 typing things on the keyboard to make a 10. In future lessons, we'll talk about the tens place and the ones place. But for right now, that's just a good way to spot if a number has tens, groups of 10, and ones. And you can see that when you build a number like 12. The number 12 has one group of 10 and 2 leftover ones. One group of 10 and 2 leftover ones. Now you could count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, but it's much faster to go 10, 11, 12. Making groups of 10 is a shortcut that will help you with a lot of counting and adding and subtracting in future lessons. Okay, so now that we've reviewed all that, let's look at a problem and use what we know about tens to solve it. Here's the problem. Buzz is making an art project with shape blocks. He uses 30 blocks to start. Then he uses 20 more. How many blocks does he use in all? Now, pause the video and try to solve this one on your own. You might want to use the Number Pieces app in our Google Classroom to build the problem, but you could also show your work a different way. The Number Pieces app is what I use to build the tens and ones pictures. All right, are you ready? Let's work through this together and see how it matches with what you did. Now, when I started solving this problem, I started by thinking of the 30 blocks because that's what he used to start. Now, counting 30 blocks was a lot. Here they all are. Whew, is there a way I could have organized those to make them easier to count? Well, yeah, I could make groups of 10 blocks, and then we can skip count. Remember, I'm going to use green when I make a group of 10, so it's easier to see the difference. But all I did was take 10 of my yellow blocks and squish them together. And then I took some more yellow blocks and squished them together and made another group of 10. And the last group of 10 I squished to make a group. So these are equal. There are 30 yellow blocks, or I could squish those blocks together and still have 30, but now they're organized a little nicer and a little easier to count. Let's double check though to make sure I built the 30 correctly. We know that each of these is equal to 10 yellow pieces, so we can skip count. 10, 20, 30. Yeah, okay, we built the 30. There are 30 squares in all, or 30 blocks in all. We could have also counted how many groups of 10 we made. Here's one group, two groups, and three groups. I labeled that over here. Before I go on, pause the video and look for patterns. Do you see a pattern between how many squares or blocks there were and how many groups we had? Are there any connections? What I'm hoping you noticed is that one group of 10 is a 1 and a 0. There's a 1 in both of these. Two groups of 10 is a 2 and a 0. And three groups of 10 is a 3 and a 0. Three groups of 10 is the same as 30. Okay, so back to the story problem. It said that first he used 30 blocks, that's what we built over here, and then he used 20 more. So using the same strategy we did before, here's where I built the 20. So here's his 30 blocks he started with, and here's the 20 blocks. How many groups of 10 do I have now? To figure out the groups of 10, I counted one group, two groups, three groups, four groups, five groups. There are 5 groups of 10. But remember, each of these groups of 10 is the same as 10 blocks in the story. So how many blocks do we have in all? We could figure it out by skip counting. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. He used 50 blocks in all. That 50 is the same as 5 groups of 10. The important thing that we just learned is that you can count groups of 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you can count how many objects in all, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. They give you the same answer because 5 groups of 10 is the same as 50. By noticing that, this is going to help you add later. It might be hard for you to add 30 plus 20, but I bet you know 3 plus 2, 3 groups of 10 plus 2 groups of 10. You'll just have to make sure to remember that those are groups of 10. Let's practice this with a couple more problems before I turn you loose to work on your stuff. Here's a picture of some bouncy balls. We're going to fill in the numbers to make this sentence true. This is a number of balls. How many? How many balls on this side? We'll put that number here. And then right here, we'll put the total. When I counted them, I got 10 here in the first group, and over here there were 20. 10 balls and 20 balls is 30 balls. So in this one, we are counting how many objects there were. But over here, they've been organized into groups of 10. This number of 10 and this number of 10s is how many 10s in all? 1 10 plus 2 10s is 3 10s. This was the same problem as it turns out. 10 and 20 make 30, and 1 plus 2 make 3. Okay, Last problem before we go. Listen to this story. Tess has 30 erasers in a jar. She gets 20 more. How many erasers does she have now? To solve this, first I would write the numbers as tens. I would make 3 tens and 2 tens. Then I would add up the tens. 3 plus 2 is 5. Now I know that 5 groups of 10 is the same as... I'm not saying it yet because I want you to think of it. We could rewrite this equation to match the story as 30 plus 20. So what was the answer? I got 50. How about you? 5 tens is the same as 50. All right, that's all for this video. Now it's your turn to go practice this in your jam. Remember, if you get stuck, you can always come to office hours and I'll help you out. That's all for this video. I'll see you in the next one.